Where do you find sexy, kinky sex geeks?
Look where the tuxes are. That's where you'll find them.
This is Reid from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy from the intimacydojo.com. My luggage got lost this morning, and all I had was my suit bag, which had my tux in it. So we're getting tuxy. What was the question?
Where do we find kinky sex geeks?
Oh, just hang out with Cathy. Cathy's got them.
I'm not that kinky.
No, but there's a lot of kinky people that float around you.
Yes, but not everyone lives close to me.
Well, come move to where Cathy is. Cathy's like the hub of it. Like, you're like the center of the kinky, sex geeky universe.
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Well, where would you tell them to go?
There's several things you could do. FetLife has been really good for a lot of people.
Fetlife.com, which is kind of like the kinky Facebook, so to speak. And just to let people know, if you're a nerd about internet security, there have been criticisms about FetLife's, security overall. So just do some due diligence and research, because if you're an internet nerd, security nerd, you'll know how to research this. And just make sure that meets your, that works for you.
Yeah.
I'm not putting FetLife down. I'm just letting you know, as somebody who has friends who are nerdy about that kind of stuff, there have been concerns in the past. And I don't know currently what the situation is, and that could always be changing. So do your research.
Yes. Also, I've done OkCupid, and I've run across a number of people that put that they're kinky and sex positive. Mm-hmm. I also have searched for myself on OkCupid or other places for things like the ethical slut, which, whereas that's not kinky, a lot of people that read Dossie, you might want to try the bottoming book or the topping book. And also put that in your own books if you've read them and enjoyed them. Dossie's great, or any other kinky books that you really love. Mm-hmm. That might get people finding you, or you finding them easier.
Mm-hmm. So those would be like intellectual ways of flagging on the internet. And for those of you who don't know what flagging is, it's also called the hanky code. It's where back in the day when it was not safe to be kinky or queer or anything like that, people would put handkerchiefs,
different colored ones, in the right or left pocket, depending if you're
to
top
signify, to have a code that you're into certain things. Now, that also means that if you see somebody who has a handkerchief in their back pocket, don't assume that they're flagging. They might not be. You never know. You have to ask.
Yeah. You can also go to some events like Dark Odyssey, and I know there's a bunch of them. Again, not super kinky.
Kink-centric events. They're polyamorous events, other sex-positive events that tend to draw people who are in the sex-positive world or just starting out in it. Mm-hmm. So kink-centric events would, for the most part, have more kinky people than maybe a swinger event. Yeah. Although, at a swinger event, there might be some kinky people.
Yeah.
And then, your definition of what qualifies as sex geek may be different. But for me, it means anybody who gets so excited by, accurate sexual health information and good relationship communication know-how, and gets so excited about it they just can't help but share good information when they find it, like they're geeky about it. That, for me, is somebody who's a sex geek. And you can identify however you want. I'm not going to tell you you're not a sex geek. And you can, if you want a Sex Geek t-shirt, which is another way to do this.
It's a great way to flag.
You can get a Sex Geek t-shirt on my website at readaboutsex.com/Sex Geek T. And then you just wear your t-shirt, which will often
you don't have to put it in your back pocket.
Have other sex geeks come up to you and be like, where did you get your t-shirt? And you can be like, why do you ask? And then it can be a good icebreaker. Understand. Not everybody wants to walk around with Sex Geek. So, these are just a few different ways. But you're looking for those watering holes.
Yeah. Like in Dallas, there was a relatively large dungeon. It's a big dungeon there. And people would go, and they often had classes before on different things like how to flog or whatever. And there were a lot of geeks there. So you could either offer to teach a class if you're an expert, or go to those classes and meet some other people. Yeah, even if you don't want to play in public.
And especially if you know what your kinky... where your areas of kink are. If you're into rope, going to rope workshops, great place to meet people who are into rope.
Yeah.
Also, you can go on meetup.com and do searches for kink meetups or poly meetups. There'll be like meetups and munches where people will meet at a restaurant and order food and just get to know each other. lots of different kinds of events. But in 5 minutes, that's what we got for you.
And if you don't find one in your area, maybe start one.
Maybe. Leave a comment. Let us know. Where would you look?
Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like...